And sticking on the receivers, right? We had
Yep.
an interesting situation kind of transpire, I guess, in the last 48 hours between Wednesday or, 3 days really, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Kendrick Bourne gets thrown out of practice Tuesday, the first day of joint
Yep.
practices. Right before the fight, he had got screamed at by Bill Belichick. It looked like an equipment issue. I think the ref threw him out of a play because this is those sock rules, right? They're
There's
they're
something
obviously
about
going to ref it.
I forget who it was. Somebody on 98.5 said something about his knee pads.
You can't. I thought it was because you can't show skin on when you have on your socks. Like they have
I
to
think
come
he
all
didn't
the
have
way
his
up.
knee pads in. I think that's what it was, because that rule doesn't
Something
apply to
around
practice.
there, right?
Yeah.
So he gets cursed out, he gets thrown out of a play, Belichick curses him out. 30 some odd minutes later, he's involved in the fight, throwing punches, he gets thrown out. Comes back the next day, Wilkerson too, he gets obviously hurt pretty badly in practice, so he gets knocked out. Bourne that day was working with the twos, and that's when Nelson Aguilar kinda, who had been doing that prior, jumped up kind of in that Kendrick Bourne role and had a really nice day. Well, then
Yep.
Thursday, there was no media availability. And Friday would come the game. He wasn't even there. He was not even at the stadium. Um, so there's something going on. He did make the trip to Las Vegas, so he'll probably be, um, active this week, and I'm sure right back into his normal role. Especially now that Thornton's done. It like you said, and we can get into the trade talks, right? Because there's been tons of rumors.
Right.
2 weeks ago, we're talking about the Nelson Aguilar market. Friday comes out, they're getting calls on Kendrick Bourne, and these wide receiver needy teams are calling, calling, calling. And Bart, the one thing that you've been harping on since the start, and it's coming into fruition now, is it pays to have this depth. Tyquan Thornton goes down, yeah, it sucks, right? It's not a good
Right.
situation, especially because he's a rookie. But you still have four capable NFL receivers, and you got guys that are on the bubble now that life just got a lot easier for them to make that initial 53 that are playing pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Bourne, this is going to be a big week for him, right? Against the Raiders, he's got to kind of climb his way back in. I still don't think they'd move him.
No,
And by the way, I didn't think that before Taekwon got hurt. His contract, if he plays up to the level he played at last year, that might be like dollar for dollar the best wide receiver contract in the NFL.
and
800-yard
speaking of it
guy
too,
for
because
under
and this is
7
off
million.
topic, but it relates to Bourne, is like,
Yeah.
we've had comments come through. Hey, what's going on with Duggar? Haven't heard much about him. Haven't heard much about him. Well, you saw Kyle Duggar Friday night and just laying the boomstick on Icky
Yeah.
Ekwonu, right? And like Kendrick Bourne's kind of that same guy. Whereas practice, he's the guy, the energy guy. He's not going to really pop, but when the game day comes and the lights get brighter, that's a guy who always steps up and plays above, his expectations. So that's a guy you want around. And in the
Right.
the rapport he built with Mac Jones last year, and how I thought he was one of their more important players, especially down the stretch last year when Myers team started to figure him out. That's when Kendrick Bourne really started to catch his stride. I'd say, just about the second half of the season, he was a catalyst for them. And you'd expect that and a little bit more this year.
Yeah, I don't think, and it doesn't surprise me that we've heard that the Patriots have gotten calls on Bourne. Let me be very clear about that. Um, that's been a report that's out there that they got calls on Bourne. It doesn't surprise me that they didn't get into that. Again, the contract, the production, you talk about the relationship with Mac Jones on and off the field, the chemistry. It's in their best interest to turn this guy around. Kendrick Bourne is not a guy you move on from quickly. You certainly shouldn't, right? So again, I think this is a big week for him. Aguilar still makes some sense. Like, he's had a good week. I just think you talked about it before, that depth, right? I think they were probably in a good spot. I don't think that they were won over. Now, look, if somebody's going to get stupid and give you like a top 100 pick for Nelson Aguilar, yeah, you do it. You do it, and you figure it out from there. But if it's like one of these pick swap deals, like a fourth for a sixth or something, I think they're probably in good shape right now, especially with this Thornton injury, where like there's no excess depth. They have good depth, but there's no excess. So I think Bourne's safe. I think Aguilar's relatively safe. If it was one of the two, I think it's him getting dealt. It doesn't sound like they're interested in dealing Myers either, which makes some sense just given his role in the offense. But yeah, I don't, it was a rough week for Kendrick Bourne. It certainly was. I don't think it was bad enough that he's going to get, shipped out of town or anything.